Marina Diaz Valesillos was born on December 24, 2002, in the city of Granada, located in the Andalusia region of Spain. She grew up there with her mother Maria Teresa Valesillos and four sisters, Alba, Andrea, Lucia, and Alejandra. The identity of her father is unknown. Very little is known about Marina's life, but according to publications in her social networks, we can conclude that she was a sociable girl who liked to spend time with friends. She was also a fan of brothers Jesus and Daniel Oviedo Murillo, the twins that make up the musical duo Gemelliers, who participated in the first edition of the famous talent show La Voz Kids in 2014. According to her sister Andrea, Marina started working in a pharmacy after graduating from high school, although it is not known how she got the job. This fact is confirmed by a photo of the girl in her work uniform, a white coat with her name embroidered on it. Some media speculate that she had a strong interest in medicine, but this has not been officially confirmed. It is also unknown whether she started her studies at a higher educational institution. What is known for sure is that Marina's life changed dramatically when she was only 16 years old. At that time, she met a woman named Jasmina, who was born in the late 80s. She was almost twice Marina's age. The circumstances of their acquaintance were not made public. However, the girl's mother, Maria Teresa, claimed in subsequent interviews that she and the entire family had been against the connection since their relationship began in 2019. Maria Teresa said that since Marina and Jasmina began their romantic relationship, she had filed police reports against Jasmina on several occasions, fearing for her daughter's well-being. Marina was very soft, sweet, and calm, which made the family think she could be easily manipulated. There is no definitive record of whether the police took any action on the allegations, but what is known for sure is that the relationship between Marina and Jasmina continued and was always accompanied by aggression on Jasmina's part. Marina shared all the details of her relationship with her mother and sisters, so they were very concerned. Jasmina was very violent. On several occasions, for no reason at all, she cut Marina's hair. She also psychologically abused Marina by threatening her and kicking her out of the house. However, despite this, Jasmina did not want to end the relationship and told Marina that if they broke up, she would burn down her house along with all her loved ones. Obviously, such a violent situation could not end well. According to Shomar, Marina's cousin, the reason why the girl never reported her partner's abuse was fear of Jasmina's reaction and possible reprisals. Above all, she wanted to avoid jeopardizing her family's safety. Gradually, as the couple began to live together, the violence escalated into severe social isolation. In the first months of 2021, when they had already been together for about a year and a half, Marina and Jasmina moved to a place whose address was unknown to the girls' loved ones. Maria Teresa said that at that time they felt helpless and could not help their daughter as they did not know where she was. The acquaintances of both girls gave conflicting information, and Maria Teresa was not sure whether they lived in a house or an apartment, nor did she know in which area of the city they might be located. Without the support and protection of her family, Marina was at the mercy of Jasmina. Maria Teresa lived every day with the constant fear that something bad would happen to her daughter, whom she could not contact in any way. Unfortunately, her worst fears were confirmed. On April 13, 2021, at approximately 3:00 in the afternoon, Jasmina came to the police station in Motril, a town on the Mediterranean coast of the municipality of Granada, and confessed to the crime. Jasmina said that the previous day, when she and Marina were in the house they were renting, a quarrel started between them. This quarrel began after breakfast and gradually escalated. Jasmina claimed that at some point in the quarrel, Marina took a knife and started threatening her. Allegedly, Marina said that after a year and a half, she could no longer tolerate her, that she had been psychologically and physically abused during that time, and that she was going to leave her. Jasmina claimed that at that moment, she thought Marina was going to attack her with a knife, so she took it away and attacked first. She also said that Marina started screaming and calling for help from the landlord of the apartment, who coincidentally was their neighbor. But before anyone could realize what was going on in the house, Jasmina threw Marina to the floor and proceeded to stab her. Realizing she had killed her, instead of calling for help, Jasmina tried to cover up the crime. She wrapped the body in a sheet, took a shower, and thoroughly cleaned the entire house with cleaning products so that no one would realize what had happened. She also disposed of the weapon by throwing the knife in a garbage can on the road to the village of Gor Garcia, in the municipality of Vélez de Banodaya. At about 5 p.m., Jasmina went to the port of Motril to find her friend Antonio Manuel. After telling him about the crime, Jasmina asked him to help her find a place to bury Marina's body. As a result, Antonio Manuel was charged with accessory to covering up the crime because of his role in the events that occurred after the murder. Although Jasmina initially stated that she had turned to her friend for help, she later claimed when Antonio was arrested that she only sought emotional support from him during a difficult time. After Jasmina's confession, authorities traveled to the house they were renting with Marina where the events occurred. There, they found the girl's body wrapped in a blanket. They confirmed Jasmina's words, noting that the house had been thoroughly cleaned and there were no traces of the crime other than the strong odor of cleaning products. Because of the difficulty in obtaining evidence, the assistance of a specialized unit of the National Police of Madrid, experts in detecting traces at crime scenes that had been thoroughly altered, was requested. This team arrived in Granada on April 14, 2021, just after Marina's remains had been transported to the city's Anatomical Institute, where all the relevant analyses were carried out. According to the results of these analyses, the cause of the girl's death was 24 wounds inflicted by Jasmina with a cutting instrument. In addition, it was found that the 18-year-old girl had received more than 20 blows and other types of injuries on different parts of her body. However, it was not until April 16th, 4 days after the incident, that Motril Court of First Instance No. 3 formally ordered Jasmine to be detained in pretrial detention without the possibility of bail, even though she had no prior criminal or police record. The Andalusian Supreme Court said the decision was taken to preserve the integrity of the investigation and prevent the risk of flight. On the same day, the court also decided to temporarily release Antonio Manuel, who at the time was suspected of covering up the crime. As a precautionary measure, and since neither party had requested his arrest, he was ordered to report to the authorities every Tuesday. His passport was also confiscated. On the same day, the Granada government office reported that the crime would be treated as a simple case of domestic violence, since Jasmina and Marina lived together. Despite the fact that the authorities acted swiftly, the trial did not begin until December 13, 2022, almost 2 years after the incident. The victim's family and friends met the accused with loud shouts and insults, demanding justice for the premature and violent death of a young girl who had just reached adulthood. During the trial, the lawyer of Marina's family, Jesus Huertas, emphasized the cruelty of Jasmine's actions, detailing the numerous injuries the girl had sustained on her body. For this reason, the lawyer demanded on behalf of his clients that Jasmine be given a life sentence with the possibility of rehabilitation, based on Marina's vulnerability in their relationship. In addition, Marina's psychologist, who also counseled her mother, Maria Teresa, was called as a witness. The psychologist stated that Marina had repeatedly expressed her horror at her violent partner, with whom she no longer wanted to deal. In addition, other testimony was presented. The prosecution stated that Jasmina prolonged Marina's suffering when she took her life, and that it was not an instant reaction. However, they did not ask for a life sentence, as the prosecution had done, but requested 17 years in prison. Naturally, the defendant's defense attorney also spoke, stating that Jasmina was in a poor physical and mental state at the time of the crime. Presumably, on that day, she not only took antidepressants, but also consumed illegal substances, which distorted her perception of reality. According to him, she reacted violently when Marina said she wanted to leave the house and approached her with a knife. The defense lawyer argued that Jasmina could not properly understand her actions and asked for her acquittal. At the first hearing during the trial, Jasmina expressed regret. She stated that it was difficult for her to understand her actions, but this did not prevent her from realizing the seriousness of her act. Jasmina admitted that the reason she surrendered to the authorities was the realization that Marina did not deserve to be buried in an unmarked makeshift grave. Her intention was not only to give the girl a decent burial, but also to take responsibility for her own actions. Although she pleaded guilty to the violent crime, Jasmina stated that she never intended to harm her partner, but rather sought to protect her. Her words contradicted the testimony of the victim's relatives and her own testimony. In the first days of March 2023, a provisional court in Granada sentenced Jasmina to 17 years in prison for murder with the aggravating circumstance of consanguinity, with her voluntary confession as a mitigating factor. The court also ordered her to be on probation for 5 years after serving her sentence. In addition to the prison term, Jasmina must fulfill a number of financial obligations and personal restrictions, such as paying compensation to Marina's mother in the amount of 75,000 euros. She was also ordered to pay 22,000 euros to Alba, Andrea, Lucia, and Alejandra, Marina's 4 sisters, and to have no contact with them for 22 years. For Antonio Manuel, who was initially accused of covering up the crime, the prosecutor's office proposed a sentence of 15 months in prison. However, because of his cognitive disability, judicial authorities decided to drop all charges against him. Marina's family expressed their intention to appeal the decision on the same day it was handed down, believing that the punishment was not severe enough given the seriousness of the events. In their statements to the media, they emphasized the serious lack of support from Spanish legal institutions. Given that the case was not considered a case of family violence, they expressed concern about the position of the authorities on this issue, which they considered extremely important. With this search for an appeal, they not only sought to toughen Jasmina's sentence, but also to set a precedent for other cases like Marina's. Jasmina's defense stated that it would appeal, but this time, apparently, with the aim of reducing the charges or even overturning the sentence altogether. In July 2023, the Andalusian Supreme Court rejected both requests, upholding the original sentence of 17 years imprisonment and the restrictions imposed on Ainhoa. They confirmed that the sentence was adequate and justified according to the facts proven during the trial. In conversations with the press, Maria Teresa spoke about the difficult time she and her 4 daughters had to endure because of Marina's tragic death. She also complained that despite the numerous complaints she had filed herself, the authorities had never applied the defense protocol.